Good morning, everyone. This is just a wonderful day to be here. Any day that we're here is a wonderful day to be here. And so I've been given the task and the opportunity to be the facilitator of this presentation on economic resiliency daily tools. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time with these long introductions because you know who you are and we have your bios on the website. Is that right, Deanna? The bios are on the website, on the African American Chamber website?
Yes, they are.
Okay, thank you. So you can get a better picture of these wonderful people. I want to spend the time hearing what you have to say because I know that that's what our guests would like to hear. So I'm going to start out by introducing you and then coming back for your presentation. We have with us Josh Tillard Gates Clark, who's a Director of Community Affairs, Clark Construction, and he has demonstrated a history of working in government affairs and public affairs. Welcome this morning, Josh.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We have Sharon Evans, who's the director and owner of VRG, and she has over 25 years of experience, strategic planning, business development, finance, public accounting, and local economics. Welcome, Sharon. Okay, you're not on yet. Okay, and we will have Elijah Adams from Faith Electric, and he is president and CEO at Faith Electrics and general building contractor. So let's start out this morning, Josh, with your presentation, please.
So, Ms. Sullivan, I will share a few comments. I didn't know if the panel had any specific questions, but what I will begin with is from a small business perspective, and with my background, and particularly at Clark Construction, I'm responsible for making sure that we have small businesses on each of our projects, and in Southern California, moving forward, that small business participation is not only track that data is collected, but that we're always increasing and improving that on every project that we do. And my territory that I'm responsible for geographically is from Fresno to the north down to the Mexico border. And when I say the Mexico border, I mean that quite literally. We actually are working on a commercial border crossing right now in Otay Mesa, I believe is the city there near the border. And so when I'm working with our small business partners, and a lot of them are subcontractors on our projects, it's important that, one, we make sure that they have the capacity to perform. That's absolutely critical. And one way that we do that is Clark has its own strategic partnership program for small businesses within architecture, engineering, and construction. And what that program was designed to be and designed to contribute to that industry is an executive MBA style program. We designed it with the Dartmouth School of Business about 16 years ago. And that program is, in all of our markets across the country. But again, when it comes to capacity building, that is critical for us, because not only do we want to continue to bring in small businesses, but we want to do it in a way where we know that they're going to be successful. And we need them to be successful, one, because we have to continue to deliver a high quality product in terms of the buildings and the projects that we build. But we also know that the industry as a whole needs talent and needs small businesses and needs a variety of providers in the industry. And so we know that people come through our program that may never do a project for us. They may do a project for Turner Construction or Swinnerton Construction or one of these other general contractors. And that's totally fine for us. We understood that when we set out to do it, because again, we think strengthening small businesses within AEC and within that industry, or those industries rather, we're really strengthening ourselves. That program is offered at no cost. It's a 9-month cohort. Some other organizations and companies offer similar style programs. I don't know that anybody else offers one that's 9 months. That's just what we thought it took to get people ready to perform on our jobs. And beyond that, after they have that capacity, one thing that I've always noted and mentioned to a lot of the small businesses that we work with, specifically when it comes to sort of a resiliency piece, is that, constantly being in contact with me, with Clark Construction, if you are pursuing work with Clark Construction or whatever industry a small business may be in, whoever they view as their clientele and as their market, they should be in constant contact with them, whether that's educating them about their product or service offering, or making sure they're available, or understanding opportunities that may be coming up for the future. That's one of the key ways that I am able to identify different small businesses for our projects moving forward. And I try to make myself available. I do that as best I can. And I also try to make sure that everybody that I come in contact with knows that I am available. You can call, you can email, you can text, you can message me on LinkedIn. I want to be available. I want to be a resource, because at the end of the day, small businesses want to pursue work with Clark. Clark has our own internal small business requirements. So we really need each other in a very cyclical way. So for us, we're happy to continue supporting small businesses with whether that's capacity, networking, opportunities, referrals, et cetera. And we hopefully we can continue to, increase the value of those relationships.
Thank you very much, Josh. That's important information, and we appreciate that. I'm sure there will be some questions as we go forward. Sharon, you're on.
Good morning. Good morning, Barbara. And thank you so much for that. I have so nice to meet you and to be here. I go back with Clark Construction to the creation of that program, of their business development programs. And remember my dear friend, Beverly Kuykendall, who was here, and we worked with many of the teams to help create a sustainable, not only academic and support program, but also a joint venture training program to support our businesses. So thank you for being here. And Barbara, thank you for having me. It's such a welcome time to see friends and family. What I want to say about resilience, I have run a business development and financing agency for 23 years. And I come from Grant Thornton. I am a retired CPA and really have worked around the whole art of capacity and resilience for diverse businesses for a long time. And resilience is defined as the capacity to quickly recover from difficulties, to adapt, to build toughness, and really be sustainable to weather good and bad times. And there are the critical components necessary to have that resiliency is capacity. And that means capital, talent, reliable operating systems, replicable and measurable systems. And it also means opportunity. So as we heard from Dr. Malveaux this morning, I wanted to really talk about opportunity, voice, and advocacy. Because our agency, we have financed more than $395 million of minority businesses. I have a vault behind my office that consolidated 3 of my California offices, where all we did was minority business activities for 12 of our 23 years. But for advocacy was mentioned by Dr. Malveaux, because this is where we get our voice in the game. And in order to get opportunity, we need to have voice. And it often requires, when we're thinking about resilience, it often requires that there is someone to demand that the systems that shape our ability to play and gain access to opportunity are created with an equity framework so that we can get the access to capital, can afford to hire that talent to give us capacity, can afford to participate in contracting opportunities and not have to put up a $5 million bond or get an insurance policy that requires in excess of $2 million surety bond, which our companies can't qualify for. So having that capacity means that public policies, program development, implementation has to have someone at the table to carry the voice, to ensure that the RFPs and the legislation and the opportunities are structured in a manner that can include us. And so I know that capacity building programs and things that are created, mentor protege rules, and there are policies that exclude us. But it is critical important at this moment that as we are facing billions of dollars of opportunities to flow into California, I said, and I meant it, we are facing a tsunami of opportunity. It's just what Mary spoke about. The $600 million SURF initiative is going to drop $50 million. RFP goes out in January. There is the California Wellness and Sierra Health Foundation and Irvine Foundation have matched $27 million to say, you know what, empower our communities so that you guys can put someone at the table to ensure when the stuff rolls out, you can lift your voice, you know how to lift your voices so that it can be structured in a way that's fair and equitable and we can participate. And so I am championing, I'm extremely proud of Treasurer Ma's office, because within her office is housed the CPCFA, which is an agency that we worked with 10 years ago, just to ensure that we had loan opportunities available in 52 out of the 58 counties in the state that could get access to capital based on the lender's criteria, and nobody had to get involved. And if our people couldn't gain access to that, she had $200 million sitting in a fund to provide collateral for your company when you didn't need the collateral. So if you needed a bond and didn't have assets to do it, we could go to the state and get cash put in a bank account to serve as collateral for your bond or for your financing, so that we could play in the game and have a way to play and have a way to participate. I am extremely excited about the $600 million SURF initiative. We have 500 organizations. Right now I have 400, and we're striving to engage 500 organizations in Los Angeles. I'm co-chair of the Los Angeles region for SURF, to have that voice, to make sure that as we write the economic plan for the next 10 years, which is what this is, a 10-year economic plan for inclusion in 13 different regions around the state, that we have Black and Brown at the table. Because what that plan has to include is it has to define what the barriers are, where our people and our businesses are, and what we need to create economic resilience. It has to define, listen, and have input from people that look like us about how we can participate in these high growth sectors. The hydrogen sector that Joe was talking about, the new biotech sector that's being built in Los Angeles. But in every region, there's a different sector emerging where plethora of opportunities are. IIJA, which is our non-transportation sector, has a tremendous amount of funding. That's actually, the RFPs open in December. IIJA gets signed in the end of this year, and funds start rolling out at the top of the year. So we need to have voice. We need to be able to be included. And most importantly, if our championing what our resources are, and putting them in the economic framework allows us to make sure that when the policy and programs are written, they're written with us in mind. And so I will continue to champion that. I have been on the street in this, Barbara, you know, we've been there, we've done this. But this isn't a unique opportunity when we say we not only get to help shape the rules of the game, but we need to create an umbrella in there to make sure that includes us. So that's what I've got to say about resilience, capacity, and engagement.
Thank you. I'm sure you'll get a lot of questions. Great. Did Elijah come on board here?
Perfect. First, thank you for the time to speak. So I'll just give you a quick background on my business because it might be helpful
Yes.
once I give my comment. So I am the owner of Faith Electric. I bought the asset electric in 2012. It was basically what at the time was a mom and pop run at someone's house, and they were pretty much winding the business down. Faith Electric, we do high voltage electrical contracting. Basically means we do power lines. And so that or this year we'll probably do 90 to 95 million dollars in revenue. And we are one of the biggest contractors at Southern California, really concentrated there right now, but we're in the process of diversifying to other customers, both in California as well as the Southeast. So that's just a quick background on my business. For me, and as I just think about resiliency, right? So my journey with my business, we're a relatively large business. We're definitely not a straight line here, right? And obviously our business, we experience a lot of the same challenges that I'm sure others have spoke about on this call, right? Which is, first of all, our industry is very much a old boys, we're kind of a business, probably one of the ultimate. A lot of people in our industry are, their fathers were in the industry, and so it's the industry has very little diversity, particularly African Americans. And so I think, and one of the so because of that, right, it's very difficult, I think, to kind of break into this business, right? I think, what allowed our business to succeed, and I think, what really kind of, I think as businesses look into our industry, or even other diverse businesses really trying to break into any other industries. One, I think building partnerships with other DBEs that are in the business, right? And so I think that's something that we've been very, very good about, both as we went into Southern California Edison, just so you can learn how to be successful. Because I think, as a diverse business, right, we know the bar is higher, right? You have to be able to kind of outperform in order for you to really kind of see sustained success. And so I think in order to be successful, you have to really learn from those who are successful, how to kind of succeed, and what are kind of the things that the businesses that you work for are really looking at as they judge success, right? So I think that's one. I think two, right? I think hiring the quality of the people that you have working for you, right? I think drive everything, right? So I think, and that goes back to the relationships, is, you really have to be smart and selective about the people that you have in your business, because again, most of us are in people service businesses, and that means that you have to have the high quality people to be successful, right? And then I think three, it's really understanding who are the decision makers at your customers, right? Because I love supplier diversity, people inside of companies, but for particularly in our industry, and I think for a lot of industries, the business units make a lot of decisions, but in a lot of cases they can't. You have to work really hard to really and be strategic around how do you get in front of the people who are making whether or not you get in the door. And a lot of those people are very risk averse, right? And so you have to get in front of them a lot of times, and you have to be able to really communicate a compelling value proposition that really makes them feel like it's not a risky decision to go with it, right? And so I think for us, I think those have been the kind of the keys to our success, and it's allowed us, even at times where we've had challenges, to be able to kind of continue to push forward, and to really kind of, again, achieve that sustained success that you need in order to be a resilient business.
Thank you, Elijah. Appreciate that. Good words. I want to open it up because we just, Deanna, is this 11:40 that I'm seeing that that's the end of our presentation? She moved on. I have down 11:40, so I want to open it up for questions and answers because I know people have questions of our panelists. thank you for your presentations this morning. Very, very key information around resiliency. See, I need Deanna to open up our, okay. Well, I'll start then. Josh, talk about what you talk about the capacity building workshop that you have. What are some of the things that are covered in that workshop for those participants who attend and want to grow their businesses?
Well, fantastic. Thanks for asking the question. I know we had someone in the chat earlier mention KCD Trucking, mentioned there in this year's cohort. And again, our program is specifically geared toward businesses in the architecture, engineering, construction industry. And the things that we cover range from finance for business, so sort of the back of house admin finance components, scheduling, project management, project scheduling, takeoffs, reading blueprints, presentations, responding to RFPs, basically everything that would prepare you for responding to an RFP, reading it, being able to ask the questions, clarifying information if some of the information was vague. And the way that we end is with a capstone project, and that is an RFP submittal. And the participants in our cohorts are divided into groups of about, depending on the size of the cohort, 4 to 6 people per group. And what that team has to do is take the skills that they've, developed and learned over the 8 or 9 months, and they have to respond to an RFP that Clark has put together for them. And they will be judged on their hard copy submission, whether they've followed all of the rules that we've asked for to a T with that hard copy, whether it be cover sheets, cover letter, bios, sections, answers for everything that we've asked. And then they have to present on that information. And this is a fictional scenario, but we do want to make sure that everybody's using the information that we've provided over the course of the program. And again, I think it's a testament. We've been able to do the program for 16 years. We have already directly contracted over $1 billion with a B worth of work with graduates of that program over that amount of time. And that has no insight or no relation to some, contracts that each of those businesses may have had with other contractors.
Absolutely wonderful. Thanks, Josh, for that information. Your statistics sound really great. So now I'll take questions. If you will use the reaction button and just raise your hand so that I could see who had, first hand up, Pat Watts.
Hey, Barbara.
Hey, Pat.
Everybody else on the call. I wanted to just jump in because I caught a little bit of what Elijah was saying. And Elijah has such an amazing story. He actually could do a master class on building a business, taking a small mom and pop business and building it to the level that he has built it. I met him in 2012 when he just had a vision and he showed it to me. It all on the PowerPoint, had it all drawn out. And look at where he's come from now. So I kind of wanted to jump in, Elijah. I see you're back on camera to just,
What's going on,
hey. That's the one great thing about businesses, and about what we do. We network and we connect together. And that is so important because, as looking for resiliency tools, we are each other's resiliency tools, right? We support and we look for those opportunities for partnership and what have you. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And Elijah, you just have blown me away. I think you were like 20 years old when you were telling me this story, and look at where you are now, $90 million worth of business as a union contractor, no less. I'm so proud of you.
I wish I was 20, but Pat is a perfect example of people who, like I said, who taught me the rope, right? Who taught me how to be successful, right? So like she said, before I even got this thing off the ground, she was one of the people I went to understand Edison, how to be successful at Edison, what the challenges were. She had already, had a lot of success there. And she was one of the people that was willing to kind of sit down with me and school me on what it was going to take to be successful, right? And so, like I said, I think, and I've tried to, pay it forward and do similar things for businesses that have come behind me, because I think that's one of the things that's essential here. It's very challenging to build businesses like Pat has done, and you really have to understand the customer and what it takes to be successful. And like I said, Pat, Tim, who I saw chimed in also, those have been people who have been resources for me to really help me understand how to be successful.
Thank you, Elijah. Partnerships, working together. Timothy, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Barbara, and thank you everybody for participating. Continuing to blow Elijah's horn, not as well as Pat does, but joining late, but I know that Faith Electric is also in acquisition mode because of its experience with Bain Capital. And going back to my days in the governor's office and as a commissioner, that was always my concern, that more minority firms needed to merge, needed to JV with majority firms, because this is what is done in the marketplace, and we're in that marketplace. So I don't know if that was already covered, but I just want to throw that in terms of resiliency, is that willingness to, every business is for sale. It's just how much, okay? So, if you are finding yourself lacking capacity in a certain area, then seek to consider the option, not necessarily going through, of acquiring that capacity in some form or fashion. It may not be an outright purchase as Elijah's engaged in. It could be right now. I know Pat is merging with some firms or JVing with some firms in the energy efficiency space, increasing her capacity, which is massive already. So, I just wanted to throw that in and use Faith Electric as an example. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy. Any other hands? Sharon, you had some very important information for us, and I don't want folks to miss that. So if you would, what would be 3 gems out of what you said that you would want people to walk away knowing?
Thank you, Barbara. I really believe and stand that our business community needs to lock arms with each other. We need to partner with our organizations, our chambers, our community organizations, to lock arms so that while we're running our business, there are advocates at the table ensuring that we have an opportunity to gain access to those contracts that are being crafted. So collaboration is key, one. Working a moment to actually design the implementation plan. Sometimes you're running so fast and you have so much on your plate that all you can do is the work and deliver, but there has to be a point to work on the business. And what I really heard is that Elijah took that time and crafted a plan, and then he worked that plan. As our old friend Danita Willoughby would say, plan your work and then work your plan. And that makes all the difference, because you can realize and measure it along the way. And the last thing is hire professionals. Capacity needs expertise. It needs expertise in the financial space to help you guide. It needs expertise so that you don't keep having to hire the same bad employee over and over and over again. It takes expertise so that you got somebody running your operations that can give you the KPIs so that you can be a business owner and not a business manager. And so putting in that plan, the acquisition of capable, qualified talent makes all the difference. It gives you capacity. So I just think we have to collaborate. We have to hire right, and we have to work that plan.
Thank you, Sharon. Elijah, you have been a monumental success Love the story Pat tells, and I've been an Edison vendor, so I know how difficult that is and what you had to go through to remain there. If you had three key things out of your presentation and out of your experience to give those our participants, what would those three things be that you feel are important toward resilience?
I think a lot of them have already been covered, but I think number one, and it was just said, right, which is your success is going to be determined by the quality of the people that you have working with you, right? Working for you, right? My team is, the direction of our company at any given time was heavily and maybe solely determined by the quality we have people in the right places at the right time, right? When I didn't have that, we had struggles and challenges. When I have that, which I have right now, we've seen quite a bit of success. So, I can't reiterate the point that was already made, which is you have to hire experts and you have to hire the best talent that you can, because in the end, right, diverse or not, right, we want to be the best run business and the best business in our industry that we can be. And I think we can be better than any of the majority firms that are out there. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one. I think partnerships, we've talked about that. And like I said, there's perfect examples of that on this call. Whether it's Pat mentoring me, Tim helping me, on the business development side, right? You have to leverage the relationships and the resources and the partnerships that you can build business. And if you can build partnerships with other businesses, majority or minor or diverse businesses that are going to allow you to maximize your success. Right. And then I think the final, my final thing, and this is for me, whether it's business or not, is you have to be willing to know what you don't know and what you're not good at, and either try to learn it or find other people who can help you do that. Right. And be humble in that way, so that you can, because no one can do this by themselves. Right. But you also, we're all kind of perpetual development, right? And so we should always be trying to work on those things and have other people who are better at those things work with us to help us get to where we need to go. For me, those I think are just kind of key steps, whether it's life or business. But I definitely think if you apply those in our businesses, and then I also think the resources that were discussed earlier, around the blocking and tackling of actually just executing, developing these relationships and solidifying these relationships through RFPs and through those things. Great. Take advantage of the resources.
We have webinar number 2 ended.
Okay, I think someone is trying to tell me something.
Okay, sorry.
But Ann, listen, I've enjoyed being with you. The information has been really spot on in terms of resiliency for our businesses, and thank you for your contribution. And I will see all of you, I'm sure, at some time in the future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to direct you all back to the main webinar. The link is in the chat. I'll post it again.